Hey guys, it's Phil here from RSRG Entertainment, and we are here with a very special guest. We have a huge event coming up in our area in Corbin, Kentucky on August the 22nd. We have the Super Bowl of Wrestling, and we are privileged to be joined by the president of Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. Mr. Kyle Maggard is with us today. He's took some time out on his lunch break to talk with us, and we are happy to have him. Kyle, how are you doing today?
Doing good, buddy. How's it going?
It's doing great, man. Thanks for taking some time to talk. We've got a huge event coming up in a few months, but before we get there, I kind of want to talk about AMW and how it got started before, but let's talk a little bit about you first. Kyle, how did you get into wrestling?
Well, it's funny. We are recording this on July 6th, and on July 6th, 1998, Goldberg beat Hogan in the Georgia Dome on Monday Nitro after defeating Scott Hall, I think, earlier in the night. And that's the first ever pro wrestling match I'd ever seen. So that's
okay.
So that started me on my course to being a professional wrestling fan. And after I got out of high school and I was in college, I was working at Walmart. I ran into a guy named Eddie, the Driller Browning, and him and his wife were rolling through the electronics section where I was. And like everybody does, hey, man, I'd like to be a wrestler. How can I be a pro wrestler? Eddie said, jump in the car with me and John Noble this weekend. We're going out to Nashville like we do every weekend. We'll be gone for 3 or 4 days. And that's where I got started. I was in the Nashville area every weekend for at least the first 4 years. And this is circa 2002. So that's how I got in the wrestling business.
And then Appalachian Mountain Wrestling started in 2016, correct?
Started in 2016.
Do you have any memories of that first show and how it went for you?
Well, it was September the 8th, I think. It's at Buckhorn High School, 2016. About 300-400 people there. It was packed. It went long, very long. It was I won't say very unorganized, but it was unorganized enough that it went too long. I'll say that. And but man, it was good. It was people were in Buckhorn were clamoring for some good wrestling, and that's what they got that night.
And Appalachian Mountain Wrestling really lives its name. It kind of got started in that hazard area in the mountains. And you stayed there for a long time before you started kind of branching into like the Lexington area. And how did that growth kind of start for you guys?
By staying there, do you mean just the mountains or in Hazard?
In the mountains.
Okay.
Because I know you did like the Hazard, Pikeville, all the basically the mountain loop.
Hazard, Pikeville, Barberville, London,
the Parkway.
Yeah, the Parkway. Man, we just after COVID, we came back and every event we had was just packed, been packed. 700, 800, 900 people. It was just lined up at the door down the sidewalk of any place that we'd have wrestling at, and we seen people were hungry for it, and they really got behind us and welcomed us back from the pandemic. And we started our social media presence is the biggest thing for us. We have a very large online presence. I think last year we pushed almost 6 million views online across our social media. So if you want to think about small wrestling promotion from Hazard, Kentucky hitting 6 million views in a year, that's pretty good.
That's very good.
So We just, Lexington's the second largest city in Kentucky, and they may not want to accept it, but it's the mecca of where Eastern Kentuckians like to go, and they call it their second home because of half of Kentucky sports, University of Kentucky sports fans, more than half probably come from Eastern Kentucky. So a lot of Eastern Kentucky ties in Lexington. We knew there was no wrestling going on in Lexington. We had people up there message all the time, "Hey, why don't you come up here? Why don't you come up here?" So we went, and we had a pretty decent event. That was our first summer bash in Lexington, and that's the show. Carlito surprisingly showed up unannounced to the wrestling world after he just got released. So it was a good show. Made a nice splash.
You mentioned COVID, and I actually had a question. Like, how does a small promotion, not small, like small as in like who's putting it together, not small as in like the size of the promotion itself, but like how does that survive being away? Like Kentucky shut down, and like the whole country shut down, but Kentucky definitely shut down for a lot longer than some areas did. And some areas, like at the time of the COVID, I was in Alabama and they were allowed to run shows where people in Kentucky at that time couldn't run shows. How does one survive that? Not like, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like it's just so many businesses like mom and pops and restaurants, and it's just like one of the things, like everybody wants entertainment during that time most of all, but you can't get out and do it. So it's like, how do you come back from something like that?
Well, I think it all depends on you look at it as a business. You're talking, okay, if my source of revenue is ticket sales, let's say, if that's my main primary source or my only source in some people's case, um, that's my only source of revenue, and that's not there. On the flip side, what bills do I have to pay? Because if I think a lot of promotions, I don't know if they didn't survive or whatever. It's nobody has that. I don't think a lot of them had that overhead, so it was easy to shut down. Is what I'm getting at for a
Yeah.
year, and because unless you have bills to pay, the money stops flowing in. It's no big deal because there's nothing on the other side with their hand out saying, "Give me."
No money going out, no money coming in, not a problem.
Right. It's a clean wash. But if you need money to go out and you've got no money coming in, yeah, then it's hard to survive. Um,
Right. So you've been
but
doing your YouTube showdown on Tuesdays on YouTube for, has it, I know you've been on YouTube for since pretty much the beginning. You would put your shows on at the time, was it Hometown in Hazard, and then kind of simulcast, like one would come on one day, one would come on the next, and then you guys have continued to grow throughout the state as you've grown as a promotion. How has that helped create new fans?
um, well, showdown wise, before COVID, we were just doing what our show, which we called it AMW television, and when you're producing weekly TV, you need new content. You can't do that if you're not having matches.
Right.
So, and we were 4.5 years in when COVID hit, and we just didn't have the content to constantly replay because, well, let's be honest, you watch, like, say, oh, I don't know, let's just Seinfeld, Friends, whatever sitcom or TV show, when they show reruns, if you've already seen the episode, you tend not to watch. So
Right.
you can only recap so many matches of past TV shows and stuff like that. Before you lose fans get stale, or just it's stale because they've seen it. They're clamoring for new content. So we after so long in the COVID, we just made the decision to stop doing TV, just because we would just be recycling the same stuff, and that's just too much work to do television to do that, and the fans aren't going to watch it. I wouldn't watch it. So when we come back from COVID, instead of going straight and doing a new TV show, because doing television and having it there every week is very hard. And instead of, just coming straight back and doing television, we would do a couple events starting out. We just live stream the whole thing or tape it and delay showing it, just to see what the reaction was there. And we'd see what the crowds were coming through the door and how much interest the fans had in us, to where it's okay. Do we warrant going back to doing television? Do we just want to do so many events a year and just live stream them? What is best for the fans? And if the fans are there, and there's a desire, then let's give it to them. So we started Showdown in February of 25, so last year. And so you're talking 2.5 years coming out of COVID before we decided to go back to TV. So, but like I said, man, everywhere we go, it's a sellout or damn near a sellout. So it was hard not to, see that there's a want and desire to see AMW.
One of the good things, and anybody who's been to one of your shows know, you're getting multiple weeks of television in one night. But the good thing about that is you still need to watch, because you're going to have the interview, you're going to have the backstage, you're going to have, things that you don't always get in-house. And that's what's cool about what you guys put out, is it's like, come to the show, you're going to have a great time, you're going to experience it. Then you're going to get to see yourself on the show, because a lot of times crowds, if you're in those first couple rows, you're on the show, you're part of it, you're part of the experience. And then in between the match, you're going to get an interview that, hey, I didn't get that when I was there. So it's just something like extra that makes people want to tune in. And I always thought that was cool about how you guys do that.
Yeah, when we tape, we try to keep it at a couple of weeks worth of TV in a night. We don't want to stretch it out too far. It makes it too long of a night. We try to look at it. A night of wrestling is like going to the movies. Nobody wants to go watch Lord of the Rings. They want to see the Marvel films that don't go over 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
So in an hour program, 2 hours and 20 minutes of wrestling, that's breaks down into 2 episodes. But live TV is very, very, very hard. And we do the pay-per-views live, and we up number of cameras we use and number of people in the production, and so it costs more to do live TV. I was having a talk with Ryan Idle of the NWA, and NWA tapes everything. Their difference with them is
they tape too much.
They may tape in March, but you may not see it till November.
Yeah, that's
kind of that's the disconnect. I like TNA.
I was gonna say TNA kind of does the 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time. So
but
they'll knock out a month.
They're doing it in 2 nights.
Yeah.
So they'll go somewhere for a weekend and get 4 weeks of TV in 2 nights.
Right.
When we started doing Showdown, we actually went and caught TNA in Louisville, and we went up there and broke some stuff down with them just to see how they were doing theirs, kind of give us an idea. Everybody pretty much does. Most wrestling programs are taped, unless you have there's certain ones that have their own facility and they tape weekly out of it, and they may do it live. But most of the companies that travel for television, most of them are taped. I mean, nobody's got the money that WWE or AEW does.
Well, even those companies, I mean, last week both of them taped, so they, it all kind of depends on the holidays and stuff too, so it makes it a little easier. You guys have been on a hot streak, like ever since that Carlito show up in Lexington. It's been packed houses pretty much everywhere y'all go, especially if it's
hot. It was hot before then. That's what when I said we come back from COVID. I mean, the first show we had back from COVID in Hazard, there's 900 people there.
Right.
No Carlito, no former WWE stars. It was just your regular AMW crew. And it's been like that damn near everywhere we go.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's because of COVID that changed, or do you think it's what have you done different that's made people want to show up more each and every week?
I think it's a mixture of stuff. I think it's the quality of the locker room. I don't think there's anybody especially in the state, but probably in this region that has no one has a better locker room than we do. You've got various levels of talent from around the country, and internationally now we've got the prospector from Canada. They come to AMW and wrestle. So you're going to see when you see or come to an AMW show, you're going to get some of the best wrestlers around. And you might go to Joe Blow's wrestling over here or Jimmy Jack's wrestling over there, but you might get one or two decent wrestlers. It's hard to, you might have one match on the AMW card that's not up to quality standards. But for the most part, I mean, you're going to see, you take Marty Clay. Marty's from Lost Creek, Kentucky. He's from the head of a holler in the middle of nowhere. He was one of 6 people hired by WWE to be at John Cena's last match. And the other 5 people were from New York. So he's one of the extras they used, So where are you going to go and find somebody that is getting opportunities like that in this state and being surrounded by, you take Wes Barker, his cousin from Canada. He's from Canada for one. He's here. He goes out to Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, and he wrestles out there a lot. He's wrestled in other countries other than Canada and the United States too. And, then you've got guys from all over, all different types of backgrounds versus some of these places that's got Jimmy Joe that's only wrestled in his backyard in front of his mom and dad and his cousins. It's they're the quality. The quality of the roster is better. The production's better. I think we're deep rooted in the connection of not just Eastern Kentucky, but Kentucky now. So I mean, people all over know who I am. They know who Marty is. They know who Stan Sierra is. We'd be out in Western Kentucky, and they know who we are out there, and we don't even run live events out there. So
right.
That says a lot about AMW, and they watch Showdown out there. That's the beauty about YouTube. You don't have to, they can see it anywhere around the world. So,
right.
But cable television wise, I think we're on 4, soon to be 5 stations, cable wise, which, I mean, it's great to be on cable TV, but I don't know how prominent cable TV is. But the cable, there's 120 counties in Kentucky. We're on cable TV in over 50 of those. So
it doesn't hurt. It's definitely
50. No, because there's still some older
there's
fans.
Still people, yeah.
They're not streaming.
You're getting, it gives you the opportunity to touch different demographics. If you just stream online, you're going to lose some. You just do it on TV, you're going to lose some. Diversifying that portfolio helps a lot. One thing I've noticed on the shows that I've enjoyed is the youth movement. You guys keep developing new guys. It's not the same people. You come 3 months later to a show, you're going to see a new guy who's already ready to go. It's not like the same. Like sometimes you go to an indie show and it's the same 6 guys everywhere you go. With you guys, you'll see somebody one week, you come back a month, they might not be there, but they'll be there the next week. You guys have such a growing roster of younger guys and experienced guys.
Yeah. Well, that comes from, we talk about our popularity in the state with the fans, but I mean, we've got a national, kind of a national underground following too. Like we get messages. I think we got a message from somebody in Utah the other day. Come have a show in Salt Lake City. Probably not going to happen.
You should say, are you paying for it?
Well, we always do, but far as the younger talent goes, we've grown into one of those places to where we get 50 to 100 messages a day from wrestlers from around the world going, hey, here's my resume, is there any opportunities, can I get in here, please? We'll do whatever we need to do to make it work, please. And I'm not just talking about younger wrestlers, I'm talking about guys that were contracted WWE wrestlers, contracted AEW wrestlers, guys that are under contract with AEW and TNA that will message and be like, hey man, hearing good things down there, would like to come wrestle. You want to have a conversation, let me know. So it's being when we was talking about July 6th and being whatever I was back in 98, which would have been 15. If you'd have told 15-year-old me that on Sunday night, last night, I'm sitting there texting, getting texts from the Good Brothers and Jeff Jarrett and all these other guys that have been national stars and Hall of Famers, and we're just texting, shooting the bull, and talking about wrestling and talking about upcoming events. I would never believe that, but that's a testament to everybody in AMW's hard work. Not me, or not just me, but everybody. From like 2025, we employed 80 wrestlers last year. We employed over 100 people from our production crew, our setup crew, and the wrestlers and referees. So there was over 100 people. I think it might even been like close to 115. I don't know how many small independent promotions can say that. But I got one of the best compliments last night. Somebody messaged. I won't say, he don't want me to say who it was because we're talking about some stuff. But he was a former producer for WWE, and he messaged. He said, "You guys are the modern day Smoky Mountain." So I took that as a big compliment because I like Jim Cornette, and I thought, given it being a different time in wrestling, not the early mid 90s, but in the late 90s, Smoky Mountain Wrestling would have been big or bigger than, say, ECW. With the money they had starting out and the wrestlers they had in the territory that they were in, I think it would have been just that, that big. But I told them it was a good compliment, but they also went out of business, so I don't know if I want to be considered the new Smoky Mountain or not.
Well, speaking of the growth you guys have had, we're getting ready to come to one of the biggest shows you've ever put on, with the Super Bowl of Wrestling in Corbin, Kentucky on August the 22nd. How did that come to be?
Well, that's an idea we've kind of had for, probably since we started 2016, so probably 2017, doing a big, huge event at either the Appalachian Wireless Arena or the Corbin Arena, and we ended up working out something with the Corbin Arena. I mean, that's a great. Both arenas are good, but that's a great place. It's a great location. It's on 75, halfway between Lexington and Knoxville, two major cities.
Two
Um,
major airports too.
so two major airports. That's another thing. You know, you got talent flying in from all over the world. So, and we settled on that, and we've been doing events, and we started that first showdown taping in Corbin was not our first show in Corbin, but it was our first show since COVID in Corbin. Um, we'd done, I think, Lynn Camp. I don't know if many people consider that Corbin or not. I consider
That's
it the Corbin
Corbin.
area. We'd done one or two shows there, and so we're very familiar and with the town, and everybody with there is wonderful to us. The tourism people are great. Local government's great. Everybody around there I talk to seems excited. So, we end up going there, and it was just something we had. It's like, okay, we want to be able to say that we can put some butts in some seats in a big arena, and so just over the years, you kind of look at it and think it was a wild dream, and then, like I said, that first show in Hazard back from COVID, we had like I said, it's like 900 people, nothing but local stars, and then the next show was sold out, and then the next show was sold out, then the next show was sold out, and we've got to where we are, and it was like, you know what? I think we should try it. Worst case happens is it doesn't go good, but you can't be afraid to do stuff. You can't be afraid
Right.
to fail.
What can fans expect?
Everybody that's made it has fell flat on their face at a time in their life. So,
Oh, for sure. What can fans expect from this Super Show?
well, we've told everybody it's the biggest independent wrestling show in the history of the state, and I think the lineup pretty much well says it. We just added Chris Masters today. Um, with a couple more tricks up her sleeve too. Was waiting for some confirmation. I thought we had Kurt Angle there for a second, but he's committed elsewhere. Disappointing, but it is what it is. You know, we've tried to blend as much old and as much new um, to it. I said in that press conference I wanted to be kind of a love letter to wrestling. You've got Austin Idol there representing basically the USWA. Jarrett's the Jarrett family promotion. Austin Idol was big in the USWA. He was big in Kentucky. You got to talk about the guy that shaved Jerry Lawler's head in the Memphis Coliseum. But he was hot everywhere in Kentucky. So you got him, and you got Dr. Tom Pritchard and Bobby Blaze, kind of representing that Smoky Mountain era for fans that were fans of that era. You've got Tatanka. If you're a '90s wrestling fan, there's Tatanka there. Teddy Long, the Godfather, Papa Shango. So you've
That
got,
carries you all the way into the Attitude Era.
yeah, you got Papa. Just depending on where you want to put Charles Wright, you and be Papa Shango. You want him to be Godfather. He was big with both of those characters in both of those eras. Adding Chris Masters kind of brings that mid 2000 early 2010 era. I'm trying to remember who all we got. I don't want to do anybody a disservice, but we keep adding, and we've got some of these promotions in the state. I want to remember them all, so I'm gonna plug them real quick. The USWF, Elite Wrestling Alliance, Alpha Wrestling Alliance. After Aftermath Pro, which is up around the Ashland Ironton area, Drifter's Bar from up there. Um, so all those guys are um, in on having all this talent here. They're sponsoring those guys for the signings, which is pretty cool. But man, we've got a whole bunch of people. So you get like a mini convention where you get to meet all these different stars, have an opportunity to meet them, get your autograph, get your picture, and then we're gonna have a heck of a show. Ridge Holland, Luke Menzies, if I pronounce his last name, who was Ridge Holland in WWE and NXT. He's there. He's in action too. I can say that we've not announced what match, but he's in action too. So, man, it's a big show. A lot of big, like I said, big stars, legends, current stars, regional stars. So, our friends, the Fantastic League of Wrestling, which is out of the Chicagoland area. John Bullard, the promoter there, used to promote in Corbin. So he's coming and he's bringing his champion and challenger, and they're having a match on the card for the Flow Supernova Championship, I believe it is. So that's pretty cool that you've got a promotion out of Chicago coming to be a part of this.
That is really cool. What's it been like for you to have to work? I mean, to work with all these promotions to put together one show?
It's not been bad. It's not been bad at all. Everybody seems excited. Everybody understands that if this is successful, this will, I won't say change the landscape of pro wrestling in Kentucky, but it'll shift it in a different direction. I think you'll see more people, other places will probably look at our model and say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. But everyone and we reached out to a few promotions that weren't interested in being part of it. I think they were kind of hesitant, which is fine. We tried to include almost everybody, but I think everybody are excited.
I mean, the people in the area that I've talked to are all excited about this show. And one thing I wanted to talk about, it's something you've already talked about, but I want to talk about it again so people understand. This is a paperless door, correct? Something I want to enforce and talk about before you get into it is buy these tickets early. If you live in the area, when you get on the top of that hill, service on your cell phone is going to be awful. Buy those tickets beforehand. One, you're going to get to choose where you get to sit. You're not going to have to worry about it. It gives you a chance to save a little money at the door because for your autographs, because you've already paid for them. It's like a bonus ticket. You've already paid for that, so now you get to spend your money on that. Get those before you get up that hill, because sometimes you have to drive right back down. You're going to have to buy that ticket. If you want to get in bad enough, you're going to want to get them beforehand, because the more people that get at the top of that hill, the worse the cell phone service is on that hill. So that's just something I'm telling the people, as somebody who's local. If you don't know, you're going to want to get those tickets early, because that's one less thing you do not want to have to worry about. So, but yeah.
That's the biggest thing, and I've had some people ask why it's like that, is because we're doing reserved seating. I want, it's just like going to a Raw or a SmackDown. You get to pick where you sit. We don't have to have 900 people fighting over, hey, these people are sitting in the front row and they ain't supposed to. Well, if it's first come, first serve, it kind of makes it hard to police it. But everybody has a assigned seat. We were going to use Ticketmaster, but they wanted to charge way too many fees.
Yeah, it's too much
on both ends, on us and on the
people buying the tickets. So, I lost you. You there?
Can you hear me? It cut out.
Yeah, you cut out for a minute. But yeah, you were saying
you sound like a chipmunk.
I lost you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't see you, but that's fine. Can you still hear me?
I can.
All right.
I was saying the biggest reason we chose to do it like that is because of the whole assigned seating. It just makes it easier to police, and make sure everybody is sitting where they're supposed to, and we forego some of the problems that we generally have, especially on an event this big. If we could find another way to assign the seats, take the money in cash, we would. But to my understanding, there is no other way. So it's best just to do it on your phone and do it before you get there. Do it this month. That way you can budget for whatever autographs you want next month. I know there's some fans that have messaged asking about autograph prices. As soon as we get what all the vendors are charging on the autograph prices, we'll publish all that information. So I don't want to publish this one and publish that one and publish that one, and then people going, well, what about this one over here? I'd rather have it all and do it all one time. But that, if you wait and buy your tickets at the door, that's fine. We'll just do it right there, but you'll have to pay with your debit or credit card. There's no getting by around that.
Right.
Now, far as the meet and greets, cash, card, PayPal, Venmo, I'm sure that'll be accepted at everybody's table. It will be accepted at the FTR table, and it'll be accepted at the Good Brothers table, and I know it'll be accepted at the Godfather table. I can tell you that 100%.
Nice. So, but yeah, we've got, like I said, August the 22nd at the Corbin Arena. We got Super Bowl of Wrestling. But before we get there, you have one more big show up your sleeve. I saw you all are going to Ohio. Tell us a little bit about that Showdown episode.
Well, we're going to Drifter's Bar in Ironton, Ohio, just across the river from Ashland. We go to Ironton about once a year. And a friend of mine owns the Drifter's Bar, and he thought it would be interesting to have a wrestling show in there. So we got to talking, and we were working with Carlito's agent, and we just thought, you know what? There's a possibility in the future of us doing some live Tuesday night television. So we said, what the heck, let's do it Tuesday at Drifter's Bar. So it worked out better for everybody's schedule. Our schedule, Carlito's schedule, the bar's schedule, because the bar doesn't really have anything going on Tuesdays. And it's not just a bar, it's a bar and it's a restaurant. So they got some food in there too. But it's limited on spacing. So it'll be, I think we can only hold up to about 150 fans. Now, to some promotions, that's a big crowd. To us, it's small and it's intimate.
Right.
And before some trolls out there make a comment about us doing a small venue, they can kiss my ass.
Everybody does it. And you got to think about it this way. Like, you've got promotions like AMW, not AMW, AEW, that'll go to a small building just to have the view. Heck, they did it at a golf course. So, like, going to a smaller bar and having a more intimate thing, it's better for the fans, and it gives you a cool experience on television as well. So,
I was a big fan of the Nitros at Disney. I was a big fan of the Nitros on the beach. I was a big fan of them in the mall. You know, WWE kind of stuck to the arenas because they like that same aesthetic. But I like the different looks. I like having wrestling at the golf course. I didn't watch much of it, but I seen clips of it. I liked it.
Yeah, so, where else? How else are you going to throw sand in somebody's eye if there's no sand there? So, it's true. It's fun. It's a fun new experience for wrestling fans, and nobody should be saying anything about the size of the building. If anything, it's like you said, it's an exclusive experience for the people who can come out. And it's not like you all aren't shooting it for Showdown anyways. They're going to get to see it. So, But Kyle, thank you for taking some time to talk with us. I said 30 minutes. I went 40, so I do apologize for that. But thank you for putting on an event in the area because, one, I don't like driving halfway across the state to shows, so this makes it awesome for me personally. But for people in the area, this is something we don't get often. Like we don't, we'll get, NXT come as a surprise. Like no one thought that was going to ever happen. But you guys have been filling the gap of wrestling in our area when no one else has for a while now, especially since you guys have started coming back to Corbin. And even before when you all were coming to Barberville and Corbin and London, like you were doing quality shows for people to pay to come out to see. And I want to thank you guys for doing that.
Well, appreciate it. I'll say this about the Super Bowl of wrestling. There are a lot more legitimate stars that are going to be there that day than there were when NXT came. Not to knock the guys from NXT, but that's just the truth of the matter. Secondly, I'll stand by this as the biggest independent show in the history of the state. And with us having a roster full of talent from various eras, and there's something for everybody. And the one thing that makes this an annual event is the fans have to show up. If the fans don't show up, we won't take it personal, but we won't do another event like this.
Right.
So, and it can't be just the fans of Corbin. This has to be the fans across the whole state. So anybody watching, listening to this, if you're on the fence about going, buy a ticket. Because if this is something that you go, oh, hey, that's cool. I hope it is an every year thing. Well, the only way to guarantee that is by the support of the fans. And, we've got tickets that start at $25, all the way up to $50. That may be out of the price range for some people. We think it's fair market value for an event of this level.
And it's not it's not even like for like the floor seats, $50 is not bad because you're in a bigger size. It's a bigger show than you would normally have. And let's face it, you're not saying, hey, you can't come because you would charge. I mean, a lot of shows are $20 to be in a smaller venue. So it's like you're still in there. There's not a bad seat in the Corbin Arena. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. So yeah, like that's pricing shouldn't be bugging people. It's market price. Like your tickets on the floor are expensive.
Are you going to see a match like FTR versus the Good Brothers?
Exactly.
You're not going to see that anywhere else, not in this state, not in Tennessee, not in the Virginias, and not in Ohio. But you're going to see it right there, August 22nd at the Corbin Arena in good old Corbin, Kentucky.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for taking some time to talk with us. And once again, people, August 22nd, Corbin Arena, the Super Bowl of wrestling. Tickets online, amwrestling.com. Follow them on their socials. Is it AM Wrestling on almost everything?
On Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, it's Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. On TikTok and X, it's AM Pro Wrestling.
Okay. So follow those guys there to keep up with the latest updates. Kyle's posting new stuff all the time. Like you said, 1:30 today dropped a new guest. So make sure you're following. Also follow the AMW Super Bowl of Wrestling page on Facebook to get specific information about our Corbin show. So once again, thank you for listening, guys. And thank you, Kyle, for coming on. And we will see you guys next week.